Star Trek TNG, Beyond the Bridge. Personal log, Lieutenant Alex Craig, Stardate 41153.1. Farpoint. Arrival. I found her before I found the ship. Beverly was standing near a display of fabrics on Farpoint, turning one piece over in her hands like she was deciding whether it was worth caring about. Wesley stood nearby, watching her and everything else at the same time, like he didn't trust the station not to do something interesting the second he looked away. She looked up before I said anything. "There you are," she said, like I had just stepped out of the next room. I smiled. "You say that like I'm late." "You're always late," she said. "You just arrive at the right time." I let that sit for a second. "That's not how time works." "It is with you." Wesley looked between us. "You two are like this all the time." "Worse," she said. "Much worse," I added. He frowned. "That's not reassuring." Beverly turned the fabric slightly, holding it up again. "What do you think?" "I think you've already decided." "I haven't." "You picked it up twice." "That doesn't mean anything." "It means you're going to take it." She paused, then gave me a look. "You're the worst kind of useful." "You're buying it." She folded it over her arm. "I'm buying it." Wesley shook his head. That was too fast. "You get used to it," she said. I glanced around the station. Everything looked newly placed, like it hadn't been used yet. "So this is it?" "For now," she said, "until you see the ship." "You're building this up." "I'm trying not to." Wesley leaned in slightly. "It's huge, and there are families, kids." "That helps," I said. Beverly glanced at me. I thought it might. She adjusted the fabric against her arm and stepped a little closer. "So you took the posting," she said. "Yeah." She held that a second longer than she needed to. "Good." Wesley looked at me again. "What do you actually do?" "That's a good question," I said. "Don't ask him that," Beverly said. "You won't get the answer twice. You won't get the same answer twice." That's not true." "It absolutely is." "I'm in the science division," I said. "Doing what?" Wesley asked. "I'll let you know when I find out." He frowned again, then glanced at Beverly. She just smiled. "You get used to it." We made our way toward the transporter area with the rest of the arrivals, folding into the movement without needing to push through it. Beverly walked beside me, Wesley just ahead, already trying to anticipate something he hadn't seen yet. "You've been reading up on the crew?" she asked. "A little. And?" "There's a counselor on board." "Deanna Troy," she said. Half betazoid. That's right. "That's not something you usually see on a starship," I said. "This isn't a usual starship." "I'm starting to get that." She glanced at me just briefly. "I think you'll like it," she said. "You don't know that." "No," she said, "I don't." "That sounds like a warning." "It's not." "Then it definitely is." She shook her head, but she was smiling. The transporter room was already active when we arrived. Officers moved through in steady rhythm, arrivals resolving on the pad, stepping off without hesitation. At the controls, the transporter chief worked through a cycle, not rushed, just continuous. "Stand by," he said, finishing one sequence before starting the next. "Chief," Beverly said. He looked up. "Doctor." "Still bringing people aboard?" "Just about done," he said. His eyes shifted to me. "New arrival?" "Lieutenant Alex Craig," Beverly said. O'Brien gave me a quick, measuring look. "Welcome aboard." "Thanks." He turned back to the console, frowning slightly. "That's not right." "What isn't?" Beverly asked. "Patterns resolving clean, but the phases alignment's off by a fraction. It shouldn't be." He adjusted something, then paused. "If I force a recalibration, it'll interrupt the cycle." I stepped a little closer, looking at the readout without touching anything. "What happens if you reset it before it finishes correcting?" He glanced at me. "That'll interrupt the..." He stopped. Then he tried it. The system cycled, paused, then settled. Clean. O'Brien stared at the panel. "Well, that shouldn't have worked." "It didn't look like it should," I said. He looked at me again, more directly this time. "How did you know that?" "I didn't," I said. "It looked like it was finishing something that hadn't started yet." He blinked once, like he was deciding whether that meant anything. Beverly didn't explain it. She just gave him a small, knowing look. "That's him," she said. O'Brien let out a short breath. "Right." He tapped the panel once. "Stand clear." The next transport cycle began. Beverly stepped onto the platform and glanced back. "You coming?" "Yeah." Wesley was already in position. The transition was brief, light, then the ship. The first thing I noticed wasn't the size. It was the people. Families moving through the corridors alongside officers. Children slightly out of step with everything around them. Not corrected, not redirected, just part of it. It didn't feel like a warship. It didn't feel like it was trying to be just one thing. "This is different," I said. "I told you," Beverly replied. We walked together for a while, not guided so much as absorbed into the flow of the ship. The corridors were broader than I expected, the light softer, the edges less rigid than anything I'd seen or anything I'd been on before. "I need to check in with medical," she said. "You'll come by?" "I'll find it." That's not what I asked. I glanced at her. "Yeah, I'll come by." "Good." She started to turn away, then stopped. "Alex?" "Yeah?" "Don't disappear." "I've never disappeared." She gave me a look. "You absolutely have." I shrugged, temporarily. She held it a second longer, then nodded. "Come by." "I will." She turned to continue down the corridor, Wesley already talking again. I watched them go, then turned the other way. My quarters were easy enough to find. I dropped my bag just inside the door, didn't bother unpacking. It didn't feel like a place to stay. Yet. So I left. The research section opened up more than I expected. It wasn't a series of isolated labs. The space expanded inward, different fields layered alongside each other without being fully separated. People were already working, already mid-thought, not starting from zero. I moved through it slowly, pausing at open doors, glancing in without entering. One door didn't open. Most of the others had responded automatically as I approached. This one stayed closed. There was a narrow window set into it. I stepped closer, leaning just enough to look through. The room extended further than it should have. At the far end, space opened out into a wide field of stars, not like the standard viewing ports I had passed. The angle was wrong. It went deeper than it should have. I reached toward the panel. Nothing. I hesitated there for a moment. My comm badge chirped. "Craig, it's O'Brien," the voice came through. "You got a minute? I've got something else that's not exactly wrong, just not right either." I glanced once more through the narrow window, the stars still visible at the far end. "I'm on my way," I said. The channel closed. I stepped back from the door and turned down the corridor, already a little curious what Chief O'Brien had found this time.